Hi guys, I guess we're live. For those of you just joining me, this is my third video in a series for new writers. And I'll put the links to the other videos in the comments or when I post this on YouTube. But today's title is, So You've Written a Video, Now What? And this is, wow, so you've written a video. That was great. So you've written a book. Now what? So this is kind of the next steps after you've written a book. So you have your first draft done, I'm assuming. First of all, congratulations. Writing a book is a very long, tedious, heartbreaking process. And I know for a lot of us writers, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into anything that we write. So when you're finished, it's like, holy cow, I just wrote a book. Oh my gosh, now what do I do? So this is for beginning writers. I have a lot of friends who are authors and who have done this road many times. But first, I want to encourage you, now that you've written it, please don't toss it aside and pretend like it doesn't exist. It's very, 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 very important for you to do something with your story. You wrote your story for a reason, so you obviously need to put it out there for somebody. Don't put your story in the background and let it go to waste, because there is somebody, and I can guarantee you, there is somebody out there who needs the stories that you have to tell. So please do not toss it aside. If I can repeat this 1,000,000 times, I would. I can't tell you how many people I know who are like, oh, I wrote a book, or I did this, or I did that. It's like, that's great. Do something with it. Tell your neighbors, tell your parents, tell your dog, I don't care, but tell somebody that you wrote a story and then do something with it. So if you're at that stage, yay! Don't let it gather dust. The next thing you want to do after you are finished with your story, besides celebrating and maybe sleeping for 3 days and maybe drinking a glass of wine or a bottle of rum, whatever you fancy, is you're going to want to find an editor. Why do you want to find an editor? Because first of all, if you edit it yourself, that's great, but there are things that even you, because you've seen it and it's your story, you're going to miss stuff, you're going to gloss over stuff, there's going to be mistakes no matter what, and I can tell you, even after you've gone through it and your editor has gone through it 1,000,000 times and your beta readers have gone through it 1,000,000 times, there are still going to be mistakes. So you cannot expect a perfect manuscript. However, it's very important that you at least try. Don't go willy-nilly and put a book out there that has not been edited, because what you're putting out, it's a part of who you are, and it represents you. It's like your job application. So your first book, you put it out and it has like all these mistakes in it, but you plan on continuing writing as a career, people are not going to take you seriously. I am telling you this from my own mistakes in the past, and I put out books that were published at the very beginning and they had horrendous mistakes in them, and guess what? I paid somebody to edit a lot of money, and I still had a ton of mistakes. And I'm not saying it was super hard for people to take me seriously after that, because I've worked my butt off from the very beginning, but I'm going to tell you, it does make it hard. It really does. My story was a little bit different because I had paid a publisher to edit for me, and so the mistakes were on them. But then when I left them and I got my rights back, which took me several months, and I republished on my own, I had a different editor, and that editor left a whole bunch of mistakes too. So it's like, how many times do I have to go on my social media and be like, oh, sorry for all the mistakes, it's my editor's fault? And it was my very first book, so kind of lost an audience right at the very beginning because I didn't check. I didn't make sure that my book was up to par. I didn't make sure that it was professionally edited. you really would not believe how many people you cannot trust when you're just getting into this. Which brings me to another point. Make sure that when you are getting involved in the whole writing thing, make connections with other writers. If it's me, awesome. You can trust me, and I love supporting other writers. But if it's not me, find a community of writers that you know that you can trust, whether it be somebody in 3D life, like real life, or whether it be somebody on Facebook. There are a ton of writers groups. You can find support through them. You can find you can find help through them. So wherever it's at, make sure that you get your tribe of writers and make connections with people as soon as possible, because these people will be your lifeblood, and I assure you that you are going to need them. And bye, honey, I love you. Have a good day. Sorry. These people will be your lifeblood. They will support you when you feel like quitting. They will encourage you when you've published a book. They will help you when you have questions. It's very, very essential to have a community of writers that you can trust. I'm not saying go out and join a whole bunch of different writing groups. I'm saying join a few, find which one works for you, and stick with that one, and give your attention to that group. Don't go to a whole bunch of different writing groups and be like, oh yeah, I'm in this writing group, because you will burn yourself out. Take it from somebody who knows. I'm burned out right now. I've been doing this for 4 years, and I am just now realizing, holy cow, I love all my writing communities and whatnot, but there's just a couple that I need to just devote myself and my time to. So learn now while you're at the beginning, rather than waiting till 4 years later. And just join a couple writing groups and get connected to people, and then that way you can have your writing community, and you can have the people that are going to support you, because these people will be your lifeblood. Secondly, so that goes back to, okay, you finished your book. This is the best time when you have your writing community after you finished your book. This is the best time to have a writing community. Is after you've written your book, then you can be like, oh my gosh, I wrote my book, and your writing community is going to be like, oh, that's amazing, and they're going to be like, we love you, and they're going to support you, and you're going to really need that, because there's these publishing highs and lows that come too, and we'll talk more about that later. I always go through this. As soon as I finish a book, after I publish it, I go through this really bad dip, and I always go back to my writing community like, I feel like crap right now. This is what's happening. And a lot of writers go through this dip after they have published a book. They have this writing dip, and so they kind of get depressed, or, I don't know. I don't know if it's because we had to say goodbye to a story and we're waiting for the next story to come, but you will have those dips. Even if you've just written a first book, I guarantee you're going to have all these ups and downs, and you're going to be so excited, and then you're going to be so like, oh, this doesn't go anywhere, and then you're going to be so excited. So it's very important to have a community to support you. Okay, so we've talked about editing. We've talked about a supportive writing community. Also, the writing community will help you find an editor that you like, can trust, and can afford. You may find your editors in your writing community. They may be people who will proofread for you or beta read for you and help you find those mistakes. So if you're on a limited budget, that's really, really important to have. So finishing your book, you need to edit it, you need to find a writing community. Thirdly, and this is something I do ahead of time because I need a good cover to help me get my book going, stewing about in my brain. But, make sure you have a good cover designer. And your good might be different than somebody else's good, but you need to have a cover designer that you love what they make. And that's affordable, because unfortunately, and I've said this before, and I'll probably say it several hundred times, people do judge a book by its cover. I know, it's crazy, but they do. I have picked up a few books where the covers were amazing, the storyline not so much. So if you have a great cover and not such a great story, you can still sell books. I'm pretty sure that I have a few books with amazing covers, but people don't really like the stories. That's okay. I own that. I understand that my stories are not for everybody, but it's important to have good covers. Don't do like I did. I had covers that I thought were okay when I started out, and over time I learned that these covers were not that great, and my taste got different and my taste evolved, and now I have a couple cover designers and they kind of work together, and I would be lost without them. So make sure, so now that we've covered you finishing your first book and making sure that you have an editing team behind you and making sure that you have a writer's community behind you that supports you, make sure you have a cover, and then run that cover ahead of your writing community, because they will tell you if your cover is not up to par. You cannot trust your own judgment. Believe me, I have been somebody who has been like, oh, my covers are so pretty. And then I have found out later they really weren't so pretty. And I see it now, and I can look back on my covers now and be like, oh, what was I thinking? But when you're new and you're starting out, you're just so excited. And you're just like, yes, this cover is awesome. And this book is awesome. And it's all awesome. But if you want to put your best foot forward and you want to be seen as a professional and taken seriously, please take my advice. That writing community is important. Definitely make sure you have a good cover designer on hand, because they will be invaluable to your writing career. And then, so we covered finishing your book, editing, writing community, cover design, and then there's marketing, which is a nightmare, and that I'm actually going to do a whole video on later, because I'm still figuring out the whole marketing thing, but also I want to keep these videos really short and sweet. So I think that's about it for tonight. I will be doing another video on Wednesday and then also on Friday, so 3 times a week. But thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. If you like what I have to say, I am going to upload this to my YouTube channel, The Wily Wordsmith. Also, you can find my books on Amazon.com. If you have any questions too, you can always private message me, comment on this post, find my YouTube channel, send me a message there. As a new writer starting out, you need all the support that you can get, and I want to support you. So thanks so much, and thank you for everybody who supported me. I love you guys. Bye.